I wasn't trying to deal with that one again. I almost fucking... Yo, yo, yo. This is Golden Debate Show. And you listen to the Golden Debate Show. Sorry about that, peoples. I was telling Carl I was live in the catacombs instead of outside in the icy snow.
Yeah, I was just checking on him, see where he went. A lot of people got ice days, so we're expecting Capo to get out of work a little bit early. Up here in the Northeast, Rocky down in the USA, we got snow and ice on the floor. This shit, I'm pretty sure will melt if you put a lighter to it. Let's get it in. Golden Debate Show.
Hit them with that knowledge, truth, like, comment, share, and download.
The time for a new jingle has come, and that's Guess the Movie. We don't have one yet, so we'll get it in. I've been trying to throw tone off, and I think I found a way to do it.
Please.
Whatever you are, judo, karate, no aikido. Golden Debate Show. Yeah, the Golden Debate Show. Golden Debate Show. Yeah, the Golden Debate Show. Wow. Golden Debate.
So I morphed the voice with a talking cat. Let's see if you can guess the movie.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Evil.
Yeah.
Do you need to hear it again? Or?
Nah, I got 2 ideas. I was either thinking The Omen is one, or the second one would be Sixth Sense.
No, I'll play it again and give you a third choice.
Whatever you are.
Science.
Judo, karate, no
I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong.
It is a horror film.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face.
This is from an original one. You've never seen the remake, but we have seen.
I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Tom Brokaw?
Halloween. That's Dr. Loomis. You're aware of Dr. Loomis, right? Okay, well.
All right, so this is Alien 4,
this
right?
one's
Alien Resurrection.
a movie clip
TV.
now and a breakdown of it. So we got that out of the way, but we do need a little
so as you can
jingle
see,
for
they
Guess the Movie.
cloned Sigourney Weaver, or Ellen Ripley from the previous movies. She was the hero or the heroine, I guess I should say, from the past 3 movies. So it's at the very beginning. They've cloned her, and she has memories. Now listen to what they say.
It has memories. Why does it have memories?
Well, I'm guessing, but inherited memories passed down generationally at a genetic level by the aliens like its strength.
Now here's an article that came out December 1st, 2013 from the Telegraph mainstream media. Phobias may be memories passed down in genes from ancestors. Memories may be passed down through generations in DNA in a process that may be the underlying cause of phobias.
I know in Underworld they call that blood memory.
Exactly what this movie said back in 1997.
So would you like to take a gander at name the TV show?
Fuck it, why not? Something then that we don't.
You know that?
Just throwing that out there.
My lawyers tell me I can't even fire the stupid little cunt that made all this happen.
Can I just say one thing?
Mm-hmm.
These friends that couldn't hang with your dehumanization of, what was the final number, 16 women, maybe they weren't your real friends to begin with.
You know what, don't feed me that coercion bullshit. I didn't hold a gun to any of your heads.
This one's hard. You got any guesses?
Sound like some cop shit.
Hey, it's CSI.
You know what's funny? I was about to say NYPD Blue with my nigga Sipowicz.
Over the weekend, the world lost one of the greatest actors of our time. Philip Seymour Hoffman died at the tragically young age of 46 from an apparent heroin overdose. Hoffman was a brilliant talent who was able to transform himself into any character on screen, but usually picked the darkest and deepest roles. According to reports, he was found with a syringe still in his arm with at least 50 bags of heroin inside of his apartment, along with a host of prescription medication. His death comes on the heels of an outbreak of a particularly dangerous strain of heroin laced with a prescription-grade fentanyl that has so far caused nearly 100 deaths over the last year. But Hoffman's death is not unique by any means. Ben Levison, founder of the Origins Recovery Center, told CBS News, quote, "For every celebrity that overdoses, there are 75 to 100 addicts that die. And for every celebrity with an addiction problem, there are millions more that suffer in silence."
When I find my clips that fit together, it makes it better. So this is Abby Martin. She's kind of a baby girl. And then I'm going to play the Uncle John and Uncle Adam from the No Agenda Show. They're going to break down this. It's not really so much about this actor, but there's like over 1,000 deaths or something from this mixture of fentanyl and your hair rub on. You need all that crazy shit. Just smoke a blunt and be high, people.
The Daily Beast, 75% of America's 38,000 newly drug overdoses deserves their mac and cheese. But would we have had the same reaction to Hoffman's death if he was found dead from a pill overdose instead of with a needle in his arm? Considering how one is a legal form of heroin and the other is illegal, it's certainly more culturally acceptable and confusing when celebrities die from something less taboo. So how does such a brilliant person who knows the risks still pick up the needle? Well, Hoffman's death exemplifies how difficult the struggle is for a lifetime addict. Someone who can successfully kick drugs for over 2 decades only to relapse and die. Addiction is a powerful and uncurable disease, and the only way to beat addiction is to manage it. The U.S. is only one of 2 countries in the world that has direct-to-consumer advertising of prescription pills, and also has the most medicated population on Earth. Obviously, there's a huge problem here. But aside from the obvious need to overhaul education and rehabilitation programs to incorporate more preventative methodology, there are some things that can be done right now to help struggling addicts take drugs more responsibly. Big Pharma isn't going away anytime soon. So in order to combat this epidemic head-on, we need more information about the dangers of chemical cocktails, of uppers and downers, and it needs to be much more difficult to get medical access to high-grade opioids. As far as street drugs, we need labs that can freely test them without penalty nor questions asked, so users know exactly what it is they're taking and how much to take safely, especially since there's no legal recourse on the user's side.
Let Uncle Adam and Uncle John break it down a little bit further. This is the Golden Debate Show, but this next clip from the No Agenda Show. Go to earlymorningmob.com, check out everything we do.
Like, comment, share, and download.
What?
Get that mac and cheese. Everybody deserves their mac and cheese.
He's young. They said it's apparent drug overdose, but
really,
I don't know how they can come up with that.
He's pretty young. He's
46.
Holy crap! Wow.
In his New York apartment.
Well, if you got to go, might as well go in the New York apartment with a hooker.
Well, the hooker was not there. If there was a hooker.
Oh, that's sad. That's a great actor.
Yeah, he played a lot of very controversial roles.
All right. Well, thanks for bumming me out.
Sorry. I didn't know you knew the guy, did you?
Kind of. No, kind of.
I met him once. Very shy.
All
right. We got a couple things.
You know what? No. This. You know what I'm thinking?
Science.
What?
Okay.
I got it because I've been tracking this. I'm going to guess heroin, and there is. I've been tracking something here. Something is going on with the poppies. Now we know we're about to pull out of Afghanistan, or so-called, and everywhere I turn, it's all about heroin. And I'm thinking a couple of things. First of all, if we actually do pull out away from the poppy stand fields, who is going to run the heroin into America is the question. It will be very hard because we just won't have the flow. We won't have the throughput of the planes.
We won't have the mechanism in place.
And people, if you think I'm just bullshitting you here, go watch American Gangster and seriously go look at
a true story.
True story. And who says it's no longer true? And look up Mena, Arkansas, and there's a million places you can find information about this. And please look at where the bases are in Afghanistan. You will see that they are conveniently located.
I think we've beaten this up on the show quite a bit.
Not everyone has been listening to the show for a long time.
Science.
And the United Nations Office of Drug Policy and Drug Tracking, year over year, and this year no different. Production of heroin. Off the charts. And here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing nothing but heroin promotion. here this week.
Son of Senator Mark Udall, Democrat of Colorado, was arrested this week on drug possession and trespassing charges, the Boulder County Sheriff's Office said Thursday. Jebediah Lee Fox Udall.
Great name, by the way. Jebediah Lee Fox Udall. Do you know what this is? Fentanyl?
No.
Oh, it's. I think it's 80 times more powerful than morphine. And
that fen stuff we talked about a couple shows ago.
No.
I think we talked about this stuff.
No. This is something different. It's fentanyl. Fentanyl. No.
And by the way, the story of the Udall kid seems more to me to be connected to the legalization of marijuana in Colorado.
Maybe.
As a cautionary tale. You're going to watch it come out. Oh, well, I started by smoking marijuana, and then the next thing I know, I wanted to use heroin.
Well, that's not how the story ends. In fact, he was picked up for heroin last year, so it's really not. They do not compute. Could be. Udall is also a Democrat, so they're not even trying to rip any Republican guy. But this deadly heroin.
Republicans don't use drugs.
Wow, look at this heroin fentanyl mix plaguing many states. Oh, this is a bit much bigger than I thought. But it's all just really
that's the stuff we talked about, fentanyl.
Mix plaguing many states.
Well, to show people without a little delay. I'll blame it on the snow.
Reverb. But it's all just really
that's the stuff we talked about, fentanyl.
That's the stuff that they are using in Syria? Was that it?
Yeah, I think so.
No,
like, comment, share, and download. People right here working hard.
Yeah, it's a painkiller.
Okay, there we go.
It's something different. It's a painkiller. You got the Merck book?
Drug problem.
That was not fentanyl. Because these guys would be falling down. That was more like a hypo thing that they were using.
Whatever you
are. All right, we're on the stick here.
Yeah, you on the stick?
Yeah, keep talking.
So this mix of heroin
See, Toad, I feel it. Sometimes I'm like, hey, help me out. The show goes blank, and it's like...
It's funny. Because whenever I don't feel good, I love taking Theraflu.
You take Theraflu?
Shut up already. This is science.
But not this kind of Theraflu. There's also a competing brand called Magic City. And the fentanyl, so when you match this, when you mix these two together, like heroin on...
2 times, hopefully a charm. Wow.
Like
we haven't had this one.
And 39 people died in Baltimore alone of this mix.
Fentanyl. Syria.
Okay. Shut up already. It's just
If there were shorter clips, we would have been fucked. Hopefully the longer clip.
Holy crap.
Fentanyl causes overdose boom in Estonia.
Stay with us, people.
John, we're onto something here.
Four prominent bankers have been found dead within a span of about a week. HousingWire.com and RT are reporting that former Federal Reserve economist Mike Duker was found dead in an apparent suicide near Tacoma, Washington. He was 50 years old, chief economist at Russell Investments, had been missing since January 29th, and was reportedly having trouble at work.
Science.
What's strange is that he is not the only prominent banker found dead. A 58-year-old former senior executive at Deutsche Bank, William Brexmit, was found dead on January 26th in his home after also an apparent suicide in South Kensington in central London. The next day, January 27th, Tata Motors managing director Carl Slim, 51, was found dead on the 4th floor of the Shangri-La Hotel in Bangkok, Thailand. Police said he could have committed suicide. He was staying on the 22nd floor with his wife. And then on January 28th, Gabriel McGee, 39 years old, a VP at JP Morgan Chase, apparently jumped to his death from a building in the Canary Wharf area in London. I don't think we need to dig too deep to see what questions should be asked here. Is there something that links them together that prompted suicide within such a short period of time? Or were these not actually suicides and did something else happen here? It's very difficult to say that it was anything other than a
instead of
coincidence
suicide,
without
it's
it
called
being
suicided.
Conspiratorial in a sense.
Suicided.
I'm open to the
got
ideas.
hit
None
with
of
the
the
heart.
ideas are that crazy. That they were suicides, and there's something we don't know.
Yeah,
about why
I
they
talked to
happened,
some people who are
or
like
that they weren't
24. They've taken a year and a half of school, and 25, and they've worked in some different jobs. And like, I really just got to get back to school and get my degree. Why?
Right.
So you can get more debt.
Right.
And I was like, what is that going to really do for you? Well, once I have the degree, I was like, no one cares.
Right.
I mean, not really.
No.
Yeah, it's a little box that you can check for some really annoying jobs that you don't want anyways. But really what people want to see is that you've been excellent at something. You've been great at whatever it is you're at to. I'll take a person who is great at, shuffleboard and juggling. If they were really great, I was like, well, they were great at those two things. I'm sure I can make them great at something else, rather than getting a degree in business administration or some random shit like that, which is just going to be basically that they follow directions and can keep their shit together for long enough to stay in school. So, I think thinking outside the box and just really focusing on what can elevate you is way more important.
The container ship MV Cape Ray and her crew deployed this week from Portsmouth, Virginia. Cape Ray is part of a DoD initiative to assist in the neutralization of serious chemical weapons. SecDef said the deployment is the first of its kind, as chemical weapons have never been destroyed on a vessel at sea in international waters. The Surface Navy is taking a page from the aviation community by standing up their own version of the highly selective Top Gun program. The heart of the new command will be the Surface Warfare Combat Training Continuum, and will develop tactics, techniques, and procedures for tactical competency.
America!
Commander, Naval Surface Force, U.S. Pacific Fleet, Vice Admiral Tom Copeland, said the Navy must instill a culture of tactical excellence.
People will
Surface
call it
warriors
the
must
Stoner
excel.
Bowl, the Bud Bowl, and my personal favorite, the
Want to
Super
talk about the
Doobie
Stoner
Bowl.
Bowl real quick?
This
Omaha
Super Bowl
stands for
Sunday,
0-0.
hot hunting will be in full
Colorado.
effect as teams from the first two
Seattle
states
won
to
and bumped them up,
legalize
kid.
recreational marijuana, Washington and Colorado, face off against each other. On Sunday, it is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Denver Broncos, and the average Super Bowl party could get a lot more interesting. Think about it. Bigger laughs, better appetites, and also more conversations about trying to sync the halftime show with the dark side of the moon. In Colorado, marijuana dispensaries are selling blue and orange Bronco-themed
So we know Seattle won that one, and their MVP was about to have a press conference, and some guy ran in and took the microphone, and what he said is very interesting.
9/11 was perpetrated by people within our own government.
And he dropped the mic and he was like, I'm out.
Peace.
All right. Is everybody all right?
No. I always imagine myself making great plays, but never think about being MVP. To investigate 9/11, 9/11 was perpetrated by people within our own government.
And they zoomed in, and I don't know how much part the second part is, but the kid supposedly had a little all CNI on his towel, and it looked like it was hand.
Everybody all right?
But yeah, it was pretty crazy that the guy got that close, snuck in for a lot of reasons. Not only just what he said, but that he was able to sneak in. Next year, no one's sneaking in, everybody.
Making a turn here, despite all the controversy around
Check this one
football
out, kid.
right now. It is still the most watched sport in the U.S., which means you might be one of the millions of people who plan to catch a playoff game this weekend. But if you live on the East Coast and are hoping to dig into some chili con queso or maybe some mac and cheese, you might run into a problem. There's a Velveeta shortage. How can this be, you ask? And what does this mean? Well, here to tell us more about what Velveeta means to us.
I want my mac and cheese, everybody.
Please like, comment, share, and fucking download.
American cuisine, one plate at a time. Thanks so much for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me on the show to discuss this extremely important topic.
Are you in mourning? Are you very upset? Well, you're on the West Coast, so this might not be affecting you. But
so far I checked this grocery stores. We're stocked with Velveeta. So much like we did in the 70s, as a public service, we're willing to provide. We provided Coors beer back then, so we can provide some Velveeta.
You're willing to share the Velveeta. Well, Kraft, which makes Velveeta, does confirm on its Tumblr page that there actually is a shortage. Do we know why? They said that there's some there's a temporary scarcity. Do we have any more information about why this is?
Maryland streets Friday.
Seems like it was some kind of manufacturing glitch or something.
The drug is now being laced with fentanyl, a powerful painkiller.
You put those two together, it's like 1 + 1 = 1,000,000.
Substance abuse expert Mike Gidwell says this could just be the tip of the iceberg.
As more of this hits the street in a battle to win over new customers,
I predict a new flavor.
Run to it,
Get that mac and cheese, everybody. It deserves their mac and cheese.
The Office of the Medical Examiner says the drug has killed 37 people statewide since September, most being in Baltimore City, Baltimore, Prince George's, and Anne Arundel counties.
I go lock myself in my bathroom.
This man describes to CBS Evening News what it's like to try the lethal drug.
Within probably 20 seconds, I was out.
Health officials say fentanyl is estimated to be about 80 times more powerful than morphine, and when combined with heroin, it increases the risk for an overdose death. The state chief medical examiner says, quote, both substances slow down your breathing and can eventually slow it down to the point of death.
That proper rules for communications data is essential, and I don't think we got across to people yet the absolute basics of this, which is, in most of the serious crimes and sort of child abductions, comms data, who called who and when, and where was the telephone at the time, not the content of the call, the communications data is absolutely vital. And I think we need the police chiefs, the investigators and others and the politicians explaining what this is about. I mean, I love watching, as I probably should stop telling people, crime dramas on the television. There's hardly a crime drama where a crime is solved without using the data of a mobile communications device. And that's not about the content, it's about... And the problem we've got to explain to people is that as you move from a world of people having fixed telephones and mobile phones to Skype and phones on the internet and all of that, if we don't modernise the practice and modernise the law, over time we will have the communications data to solve these horrible crimes.
But I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president, if I had a personal email. When you are on the inside, when you go into work every day, when you sit down at the desk and you realize the power you have, you can wiretap the President of the United States. You can wiretap the federal judge. And if you do it carefully, no one will ever know, because the only way that discovers abuses.
More than 30 Latin American and Caribbean countries are declaring the region a zone of peace. They signed the agreement during a two-day summit in Cuba. The countries pledged to respect each other's right to choose their own political system. That's particularly important to Cuba, who has been criticized harshly for their one-party system. The U.S. was not invited to the summit, but it remained a hot topic, especially for the recent surveillance operations.
If spying is needed for the international community's security, I propose that we all spy on Obama and his government, and then the world will be safe.
This organization,
TruthReports.com, already know the Natural Solutions Foundation
jobs and new opportunities for American families. With Congress, or on my own, and with everyone willing to play their part. And that action should begin by extending unemployment insurance for Americans laid off in the This vital economic lifeline helps people support their families while they look for a new job. And it demands responsibility.
Get the kosher soaps out to fucking evaporate the snow.
But before the holidays, Republicans in Congress just let that lifeline expire for 1.3 million Americans. Hi, everybody.
Without pre-planning,
Hi, everybody.
When that happened,
Hi, everybody.
I realized that there would never again be.
Yesterday, we learned that in 2013, our businesses created 2.2 million new jobs, including 87,000 last
month. And so, because I am
a milestone set by former President George Herbert Bush and his wife Barbara.
I talked to the other trustees of the foundation, the Natural Solutions Foundation. Solutions are a middle name, after all. And we decided that we would find the best place on the planet.
Get that mac and cheese, everybody.
deserves their mac and cheese.
Section 702 and Section 215. And these are both sections about which there's been a lot of public debate and discussion. But the review group also recommends greater government disclosure about these and other surveillance authorities it possesses. But the report appropriately and understandably does not itself disclose any additional programs. What review, if any, did the group make of undisclosed programs? Or could you at least comment about whether lessons learned from such review is in fact reflected in the
I think there's a great deal of metadata collected by the National Security Letter Program, and we do speak to that in the recommendation. There's also a great deal of communications related information collected under the Executive Order 12333. Public attention is focused on 215, but 215 produces a small percentage of the overall data that's collected.
Thank you to the whole panel for your testimony.
The question is, you were just talking about things like body armor and the get-up these young gunmen have used in these crimes we've come to know.
Some people say, you're and you're a military crime. It's only been in recent decades that we've extracted ourselves, which I think is a big mistake. We need doctors and we need science.
From the Great Lakes to the Atlantic shores and all the waterways in between, it is an effect of one of the coldest Januaries on record. Ice jams. They make for some spectacular winter scenery, but as our Kristen Goldberg reports, has caused serious problems on some of the nation's most vital waterways.
Yo, this is King Midas, and you're listening to the Golden Debate Show.
There is
King Midas certified. Golden.
Can get through. These are not the icy waters of Antarctica. These are the icy waters of Philadelphia.
It's been maybe 20 years since we've seen it this bad.
So every day these Coast Guard icebreakers are out, slicing through a foot or more of ice to make sure vital shipping lanes stay open.
Goods that we buy in a grocery store, the heating oil for your homes, that all comes through maritime channels. So if the river were to freeze over and you weren't able to get that, obviously that affects thousands of people.
This year's extreme cold has left hundreds of waterways iced over. In the Hudson River, it's an almost constant battle. Overhead, reconnaissance flights scout for ice jams.
Cut us through today. This is long stairs.
Down below, crews attempt to cut through.
People don't realize that we're not out here. These boats and commas will not flow to New York. It just won't happen.
On the Great Lakes, icebreakers are running day and night to keep things moving. When temperatures are at their coldest, the lakes freeze over as soon as the boats pass. Meanwhile, back on the Delaware, a dead end.
This is about as far as we can go today. The ice here is simply too thick to get through, so their best bet is to break up the ice to the south of here, so once this does freeze, it has someplace to go.
If it jams up, there's a Briscoe flooding along the banks of the river up there.
Critical work.
We're trying to make a dent in it and doing the best we can.
To keep supplies flowing during an extraordinary winter that is far from over.